Happy New Year to all. First I will be showing the instruments. This is Strabismus caliper, calt needle holder to hold the curved needle with black silk thread to pass below the superrectus muscle. This is the Dastur's superrectus forceps. Strabismus caliper to measure corneal diameter. Hoskins and corneoscleral scissors or conjunctival scissors to perform conjunctival resection. Blade breaker with blade to make a groove in the sclera. This is the crescent to make the sclerocorneal tunnel. This is 2.8 mm keratome to make an entry into the anterior chamber. Then you have the paracentesis blade or to make the side ports on either side at 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. This is the capsulotomy needle, bent 26 gauge needle. This is utrata capsule forceps. There are different types to perform capsulorhexis. This is the curved one. This is titanium one. This both are steel long ones. One is curved and one is straight. You can use either one. You can use it in the main port or the side port. These are two different sizes cannula. The smaller one is 27 gauge, which is used for hydrodissection. These are for irrigation and aspiration of cortex. This is Simcoe cannula of 22 gauge size. The left hand is the IA probe, which comes along with a phaco machine. This is iris repositor to release posterior synechiae in complicated cases. This is the Simsky hook or the IOL dialer to dial the IOL. This is IOL folding forceps, that is McPherson forceps. This is for bimanual irrigation aspiration cannula. On one side you have the irrigation or the fluid coming in, and the other one is for aspiration. This is the needle holder for 10-0 nylon suture to hold it and suture at the end. So this is 10-0 nylon. Some people use 8-0 vicryl. This is the suture tying forceps. One is the curved, the other one is the straight. Most important in pediatric cataract surgery are the cutters. This is 20 gauge cutter, the white one, and the green one is 23 gauge. In smaller eyes, you can use the 23 gauge, or lesser child age group, you can use the green one. These are the tubings which is connected to the phaco machine, which has automated anterior vitrectomy setup as well. You can see that. So this also has diathermy. After performing corneoscleral tunnel or corneal tunnel, the first and foremost important step is to perform a good rhexis. For this, the anterior chamber should be tight, and using utrata forceps or the steel forceps which I showed you earlier, we can perform this rhexis using the border of the zonular cataract as the landmark. Next is to perform a good hydrodissection. Inject fluid beneath the anterior capsule and you can see the fluid wave. With the same cannula you can express the cortex. You can see the cortex and the cataract coming out just by visco expression. Inject some more visco and the whole thing can be expressed smoothly. The remaining can be aspirated using Simcoe cannula. This is one clip which I am showing Simcoe cannula, and the other one is you can use the IA probe to aspirate the cortex. One more option is to use bimanual irrigation aspiration. So you can put these two instruments in the two side ports respectively and aspirate. The chamber stability is better with this. Sometimes to aspirate the subincisional cortex, I use the 27 gauge cannula, that is what you use for hydrodissection, to aspirate the subincisional cortex. The advantage is that the chamber doesn't collapse. The next step is to perform PPC, that is a rhexis in the posterior capsule. It is similar to the anterior rhexis, but here you maintain the chamber a little bit shallow, so you can approach the posterior capsule much more easily. The size will be smaller than the anterior rhexis. It will be about 4.5 to 5 millimeter. It also depends on the IOL size that you are going to implant. Then you do vitrectomy, anterior vitrectomy. After vitrectomy, I am implanting a single piece rigid IOL of 13 mm. Now I am using McPherson to put the trailing haptic inside the bag. You can perform vitrectomy after doing PPC and placing the IOL, going beneath the IOL and cutting the vitreous. Now you can see the IOL being implanted. This is the foldable acrylic IOL. This is Alcon single piece IOL. I have no financial interest, but I prefer this IOL because it releases or unfolds very smoothly and slowly. You can also try 3-piece acrylic IOLs. In older children, sometimes I implant hydrophilic IOLs. This is also fairly good enough. Here I am showing gimbal's technique, that is optic capture. I am using 2 Sinskey hook and pushing the optic of the IOL behind the PPC margin. The advantage is it has good centration and no PCO. But the problem is regarding IOL exchange. In all cases, we do peripheral iridectomy. Most important is how well we visually rehabilitate these children and how frequently we follow them up and how long we follow them up for complications. Thank you.